Good afternoon. My name is Officer Mike Solan, S-O-L-A-N. I'm the president of the Seattle Police Officers Guild. I want to thank you for your time today as we're in front of the East Precinct, which has been a source of contention over the past week. I've been here almost every night, and the conditions here aren't good. They're not good for the health and well-being of the 1,300 proud professional public safety officers that I represent at the Seattle Police Officers Guild. And in particular, the community is suffering as well. The reason why I'm here today is to acknowledge that we are with the Seattle community. We developed a hashtag, we constructed an open letter over a week ago where we strongly condemn the tragic death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. We've shared that with the public, we've shared that with our membership, and as a union that represents these unbelievable human beings of police officers in this city, I want the community to understand we are with you. As a professional public safety servant of 21 years, what I saw happen on that day is unconscionable. It was sickening. And we are fully support, as we expressed in our second open letter, to peaceful protest. We are with you on that. That tragic death has caused such great strain in our community and across this nation, and in fact globally. There needs to be a discussion with race relations. But we need a reasonable discussion with reasonable people. What's happening here at nighttime, particularly around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, is unreasonable. It is a small group of criminal actors that are unfortunately stealing the peaceful protest message for justice for George Floyd, one that we support. I cannot stand here anymore and not watch, not hear city leadership protect my members from this violence. Our people are being, in the dozens, are being hit with projectiles, rocks, explosive devices that injure them. I've had a close friend of mine almost lose his right eye. What is not being portrayed to the community are these circumstances that are impacting the proud professional police officers that are following orders to defend this police facility so we can continue professional police services to the citizens in this city. I can't stand for that anymore. Our people, and quite frankly, as being a member that resides in this community, are tired of what is occurring. However, we cannot lose this facility to a small group of actors who don't have the community's overall mission in their mind. They are not the true voice of the citizens of this city, one that I believe in, that I support. These are people that want to hurt and destroy police property and my membership. I cannot take it. The community can't take it anymore. I've mentioned we've had dozens of officers that have been injured. If you look around 11th and Pine area, look at the property destruction as well. Unacceptable. The effective tool to help us restore law and order and public safety for the citizens in this city are less lethal munitions. And sadly, our leaders are debating whether or not to remove those, therefore making us ineffective to be able to defend this precinct so we can continue to provide public safety services to our outstanding community. We've been told that our officers must remove some of their riot gear that is being debated. What does that do for the officer who's been ordered to be on the line when they receive these projectiles hurled at them? I've already talked to you about the bruises, the contusions, the separated shoulders, the broken bones. What about their mental health? I'm inundated with emails from my membership and their friends and family that are concerned. Activists are on record following officers home to their houses to intimidate. Police officers took an oath of service that bonds us with our community. We take that oath of service seriously. We fully support training. That only makes us a better police force so we can be a better resource to the community when they need public safety resources. If you want to have a talk about defunding the police department, what will that do to our training? That will only degrade that professional public safety service that we provide right now, but in the future, if we don't have the resources available, you're going to see a continued degradation of those professional public safety services. Then where are we in a society? Who's going to answer that 911 call? Who's going to investigate that child who was just unfortunately raped, abducted, kidnapped? Who's going to follow up on these crimes? It doesn't seem to me as a reasonable conversation. But if people that are reasonable and want to talk about the societal issues that impact all parts of our system, then we are more than willing to be at that table. But as our letter that we offered to the mayor 2 days ago, which highlights all of these issues and our concerns for the public, and more importantly for my end of things, my membership's health and well-being, which have expressed what I'm telling you today, that letter hasn't even been acknowledged. We haven't been asked to be a part of the stakeholders at the table for these discussions. How can you alienate the people that are doing the work that the media and the activists are highlighting? Why aren't we at the table? Where's our perspective? We are a part of this community. We're human beings. And we're doing our job as best as we can under these intense circumstances, which we agree with peaceful protesters. What happened with George Floyd is unconscionable. It's a gut punch. I couldn't even get through the video. That is not a reflection of the fine men and women that I represent. And in fact, our leaders have expressed that this department is an international leading police agency that does constitutional policing. That we are leaders of de-escalation and training. How can a serious person have a conversation about defunding the police department when our leaders are on record saying that we embody a professional department? Here's what we've done. We've heard the community's concerns about badges being covered. And what's not being told is our position on that, because we haven't been brought to the table to this discussion. But we've been proactive and we've heard the community's angst about that. But we have nothing to hide. We serve you. It's our oath of service to serve you. So we've agreed and welcomed to still have morning badges, but show our badge number. We've got our names following department policy that is currently being provided to all our memberships, for our membership that we adhere to. We're doing that. But we've worked with the city. We'll move the morning badges up and you can see our badge number. No problem. Nothing to hide at all. The city's asked us to move on body camera issues. Totally okay. Have them on at all times when we're on the line with the protesting, and at night when the criminal acts are impacting and hurting our people. We have nothing to hide. We want to be as transparent and accountable as possible. I will be the first one to own any egregious act of misconduct from our membership that the community sees is a significant problem, I will see it as well and I'll own it. That's the job that I do as being president of this union. And we welcome OPA investigations, as we always welcome them. We need to have a reasonable conversation. So bring us to the table. Sit down with people that are actually involved in what's happening here. And I question you, why haven't we been asked? I don't want to come across as being victims here. We're police professionals. And our oath of service bonds us with our community, as I've mentioned. And we are open to any dialogue at any time. I want the violence to stop against the police officers. Our oath of service is noble, and we love our jobs, and we love this city. We love it so much that we've developed innovative concepts called the Emerald Protection Plan. The Emerald Protection Plan is a concept with phase 1 weaved in 6 Fridays. We've raised over 4 tons of food to disperse to food banks throughout the city to feed those most vulnerable. That was done on behalf of our membership, partnering with the community and independent grocers. We held one 3 weeks ago at the Rainier Beach Safeway, where we highlighted the senseless violence that is impacting that community. That family that was impacted, integral part of that community. High school standout at Rainier Beach High School. Football team standout. The Rainier Beach football team showed up. The community showed up. The coaches from that school showed up. That community, we collected over 3,000 pounds of food on behalf of cops, community working together. And a week after that, we held a blood drive with the American Red Cross, where we had 53 of our people donate blood. We saved over 152 lives that day. We buy into this community. We don't want to see it torn down, but we want to be at the table to discuss the issues that impact our overall society, not just the police force. The system works. The people, the department heads within the department are civilian-led. We welcome that. I ask the community to just understand we back you. We're with you on these peaceful protesters. With them. But at night, right here at 11th and Pine, is unacceptable. And I find it egregious when those criminal agitators are chanting, "Take your own guns, put it under your mouth, and shoot yourselves in the head," when we have sitting council members standing next to and hearing that abhorrent rhetoric, aren't condemning that. Where are we? Where are we? Absolutely unacceptable. It's unreasonable. Open for questions.
Let me ask, we're hearing about this today. Tear gas, 3 days ago, the police chief said that wouldn't use it for 30 days. Then last night after midnight, it was authorized. Some people are upset about that, very angry about that today. What would you say about that?
That is a less lethal tool that is effective in restoring public order. What is happening, as I mentioned earlier, after 4 o'clock, these criminal agitators take over this peaceful protest, and it becomes a violent event where what's not being portrayed into the media or our community overall is what my membership is being impacted by. Blunt objects, bottles, rocks, cinder blocks, metal objects, incendiary devices that are exploding. The only way that we can try to contain and protect this police resource, this community resource, is to have that less lethal tool. That is the only effective method that clears that violent behavior, that protects my membership. If the city is going to remove that from us, sadly, the only option available then for us is physical interaction, which unfortunately may lead to physical violence, injuries to community members, and to my membership. It's unacceptable. I don't want that. The community doesn't want that. So why remove a less lethal tool, which I've been exposed to before, I've been trained on it. That is the best tool for us to safely protect our community. We must hold the people that are hurting, insulting my membership and the community in general accountable. And our public leaders, elected officials, have to condemn that violence and not blame the police. They are intentionally, meaning the criminal agitators, are trying to provoke police. One of my members, who is being identified, is being mocked within the crowd, and as that member heroically saved a baby a month ago, is being mocked, and they're saying, pick up the baby, pick up the baby. Tell me how this is a reasonable discourse in our functioning society in Seattle. Why aren't our elected officials condemning that rhetoric? I stand by again, we support in our open letter, second one to the city. We're with you. Why is it that 8,000 white coat medical professionals and a peaceful community can come together and march through the streets and no issues? However, at night at 11th and Pine, when those reasonable community members are at home and with their families, now we have community members who are unreasonable and committing acts of violence against our community, our police officers, my membership. Why isn't that being told? Why isn't that being condemned by our public officials? It's unreasonable, and I won't stand for it. That's why I'm here for you. I hope that answers your question.
Do you see any, when you talk about being reasonable, do you see any reasonable opportunities to talk about either defunding or, if not just necessarily defunding, but a fundamental restructuring of policing in America?
I totally welcome any conversation with people that are reasonable to discuss these societal issues. This isn't just a police issue. But tell me how it's reasonable to have conversations about defunding the police when we're already outnumbered with staffing. We're already at below minimum staffing levels for this city. That's a dangerous situation for the community at large. Who's going to be there to answer that 911 call when somebody says, I need help, someone's breaking into my house? Or who's being assaulted, or who's just kidnapped a baby? You're not going to have the resources available. That's a degradation of society at large, and it's a fundamental problem that I take umbrage to, and I think the entire community takes umbrage to. If you want to have a conversation about defunding the police, let's talk about the reality right now. The reality is we're already underfunded. Public safety crimes are rising. If you remove a significant amount of money of the police department, there's going to be an explosion in crime. And how many qualified candidates will we be able to get to fulfill police ranks? So we don't have those questions and concerns about unnecessary use of force. When we lower the standards and the vetting process to get quality human beings to do this difficult job. How can you remove funding for training when the community is screaming for more training, which we fully support? We're screaming for more training. Does defunding the police conversation involve training funding? Because if it does, that's the first thing that's going to go. And then therefore, professional public sector service that is being done on a daily basis in this city will go down immensely. So if you want to have that conversation, let's have a rational, reasonable conversation with people in the community that aren't an unreasonable activist group. Let's have a conversation with reasonable people and can sit at the table and talk about these society's concerns.
So are city council members unreasonable?
They're unreasonable when they don't condemn when people are saying next to them, take out your handguns and shoot a bullet in your head. That's unreasonable to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I did have one follow-up about the photos. You've mentioned these injuries. Are there any photographs of officers documenting what's happening? Is that
Yes,
something
ma'am,
you
I have
provide?
those, but I'm going to put it on the department to release the statistics of how many officers have been hurt. And I want to say one more thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
This precinct right here has CCTV television, closed circuit television, that I've seen firsthand that has captured video of that criminal element at night that is provoking our officers, that shows an improvised explosive device that discharged 4 nights ago, where they hurled rocks, bottles, and concrete cinder blocks at our people. It's captured on that video footage. I asked the city, why isn't that being released to the media? Why isn't the department story being told? Instead of what we're being told by elected officials that we're the agitators, that's unacceptable. It's not accurate. That is a false narrative that I will profoundly stand up against that. The community needs to know what's happening here, the correct method. And so to your point, if the department's not going to release that information, we will. That's why I'm here, is to stand up for our members' working conditions.
Do you have numbers of how many have been?
Dozens.
Dozens, yeah. Who do you blame for this in terms of city leadership? Is this the mayor? Is this the police chief?
I blame criminal agitators
Yeah, but aren't
that are
is someone tying your hands is almost what I'm hearing you say. Because are you able to deal with those criminal agitators?
Tell me why this video footage hasn't been released to the public. Who's in control of that? It's not my membership. We can't release that information.
Do you see
Our body cam footage is there. Why haven't they released body cam footage of the rhetoric, which is unconscionable verbiage, hurled at our officers? I had a member last night who's from Ghana. Recent hire, a beautiful human being. He's on the front line last night, and he was told by somebody in the crowd, go back to your country. That's an African American member of SPOG from Ghana who is being hurled insults racially to have him go back to his country. You tell me that that element after 4 o'clock at night is reasonable? I don't think so. Thank you very much. Sir, you're going to have to ask a medical expert about that. But CS gas has been around for decades. It's an effective crowd control tool. It's really the only tool that's effective for us to be able to hold this facility and protect our people. And if that's pulled from our ability to use that level of force, it's going to lead to more injuries to the community, more injuries to our membership, my membership, and we'll hopefully might lose this facility.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.